Many startup founders mistakenly believe that having a great solution that customers love is enough to get a product market fit and have a successful startup. And unfortunately, that's just not the case. Let's have a look exactly what you do require if you want to get a product market fit and have a successful startup. So the first thing is looking at your entire business model. And the best way to represent that is not only the solution side, so the part that the customers are effectively going to own and use and get the value to solve their problem, but you also want the buying experience of the customer. How are they going to find that you exist as a company that can solve a problem for them? How are you going to nurture them to the point that they're ready to hand over their money? And then how are you going to turn them into advocates and fans? And we find this figure eight, customer experience journey map, is a great way to start here at the early stage of the buying journey, the awareness, and taking a customer all the way through a buying journey until they decide to pay their money, and then they have an owning experience. And that entire feedback loop, when you get to this point here, when you've built fans and advocates, and those fans and advocates are going to then generate your next leads for you and send the next customer around this journey, that's what hockey stick growth means. That's what product market fit means. And of course, all of this has to be in the context of a business model that can be self-sustaining, high growth, and high profit. And this is really the secret of building a successful startup. And if you don't have this end-to-end view that also has the economics of your business model built into it, then you're unlikely to reach a successful product market fit and unlikely to reach startup success. Let's break this down even further by looking at this now as a funnel rather than as a figure eight. So this is a typical kind of funnel that you might see. There are many versions of this funnel. This is a very simplified version where we have awareness and audience building as the first step of bringing customers into your world, making them aware that you can potentially solve their problems. The next step in this funnel is what we call the nurture, trust, and credibility. This is where you have to build up enough trust and credibility with these customers, potential customers, where they're going to be willing to enter into a transaction with you. And of course, it completely depends on the type of business and the kind of product and service and their price point as to how high this bar is in order to get someone to move into a transaction. If you have a relatively cheap price point and the solution that you're offering is a solution that is not of huge consequences to the customer, then they may be willing to try you very, very quickly, and the trust that you need to build can be quite low. But if you've got a solution that is a critical business solution that may take a long time to implement, long time to train staff, then the barrier is going to be much, much higher, and you're going to spend a lot more time in this stage. And then finally, at some point, you need to get them over that barrier into the delivering value. And then ideally, you want to have a repeat buyers, repeat engagements with those customers. And this is a much better way to look at a business model in terms of your customer experience on the buy side as well as the own side. And we find that far too many startups and their teams focus too much on this deliver value piece, because of course you have to solve problems for customers if they're going to pay you money, but it's not enough just to focus on that solution. You also have to think about how are you going to make people aware and bring them into your potential audience. How are you going to nurture your trust and credibility and convert them into paying customers? And it's often this first two stages in the marketing and sales aspect of a business model that catches out so many founders, because they haven't had the experience to realize just how difficult this can be. And it's getting more difficult in today's media landscape to get cut through, to get awareness of your unique product and service and build that trust and credibility and have people become buyers if it's a complex product. So once you've got this view in mind, you can then start to think more about the economics required. And obviously, when you deliver the value, you're going to be charging for that value, and you're going to be earning some amount of revenue. And of course, you need to be able to cover the costs of the business. And when you look at the costs of running the business, you've got the cost of sale, which is the cost of this audience building, as well as the cost of the nurturing required to get people over the line and become a purchaser. You've got the cost of goods for delivery, which can be very low for some businesses, like a SaaS business, for example. You can have incredibly high margins, but if you haven't thought about how much the cost of sale is, you may trip yourself up. And then of course you've got your overhead costs, general and administration costs, which can diminish over time if you can scale up. But initially, they're likely to be a reasonable amount of your business. And then, of course, the last piece of the puzzle is this cost of development. And it's this cost of development that is also underestimated by so many startups, because they often think that there is a cost of development to get this funnel in place, and then the cost of development is kind of done. Maybe there is some ongoing maintenance, security bug fixes, those kind of things from development that you can put into this overheads cost line here. But essentially where the biggest mistake is that people make is this cost of development has to be borne over and over and over and over again, because the first version of this funnel that you create, the first customer experience that you create, is very unlikely to get you to product market fit. And if it's not good enough to get you to product market fit, then you're going to need to do another iteration, and that means more development cost. And if that second iteration still doesn't get you to product market fit, then you're going to need to do another iteration. And so it's really important that you take into consideration the iterative nature of converging on product market fit using lean, agile practices, which are the best practice approaches in a startup to get to product market fit. That large number of iterations, optimizing for learning before you optimize for growth. And if that's the case, then this cost of development is probably higher than most people expect. But on the flip side, you can also reduce that cost of development by planning for those iterations and not over investing in the early iterations and trying to get to scale too quickly. You can do things that are less scalable to get you the learnings that you need to figure out what exactly you need to do to get to product market fit. So if you're a startup founder and you haven't taken all of this into consideration around your business model and getting an entire business model to product market fit and to startup success, then you might want to look at this model to help you do that.